Hey, welcome back. I hope you had a relaxing weekend. Got plenty of rain. We could all use that, even though it may have showered on a few weddings. We're not in court this week. I did pass a jury on the way over here, and they were here for civil court. So that'll be starting up, but criminal court we will be preparing. I've got meetings all day tomorrow on the upcoming trial rosters. But last week was a very busy week. Here's some of the cases we'll highlight for you. Jabari Coffee, he's 22, of the Longs area of Horry County. He pled last Wednesday to voluntary manslaughter in the shooting death of Isaiah Collins. He received 20 years for that. This was a drug deal, arguments over a drug deal. I tell you guys all the time that for the most part, there's no 100% answer. But you can certainly, you're safe as long as you're not buying or selling drugs, as long as you're not using your home to facilitate drugs. That increases your risk exponentially. And this was again over drugs. They were fighting over a drug deal, and Jabari Coffee got 20 years for the shooting of Isaiah Collins. Now this next case was 20 years, but it's totally different. This is a 2024 case, July of that year of violence. So it took us about almost 2 years to get this up. What had happened is, at Myrtle Beach, they have a lot of baseball tournaments and basketball tournaments and all of that, and sports tourism is big. Usually you have no problem at all out of sports tourism. But this was a team out of Virginia, and there was a team out of Aiken, and they had met up not on the basketball court but on the Ocean Boulevard before they were to play a basketball game. And I think it was over a girl, but they were arguing back and forth, these two groups, one from Aiken, one from Virginia. And an agreement was made to fight between the teams, and they were moving toward the beach access, and one of the people, Gary Abraham, 20 years old, he's 20 now, he would have been 18 at the time, pulls a gun and starts firing, and he hits and kills a young man from Virginia. Now that we had several independent witnesses that would have made it, we're just here for the truth, but the independent witnesses would say there was going to be guns on both sides. There was no other proof of that, but that statement was coming out. The only thing that we saw and the only gun that was fired was from Gary Abraham, and that ended in a death. But there was no independent thing that he was mad at Jacoby Taylor. Jacoby Taylor was just on the other team, and when he shot, he hit Jacoby Taylor, and Jacoby Taylor died as a result of this. And Gary Abraham got 20 years. I've covered it before, but murder is the killing of another with malice or hatred existing for some amount of time, some sort of planning. Manslaughter is the killing of another without malice, and malice is excused because of a fight or because of a push or because of fear. And in other states, you would call that murder 2. Well, in South Carolina, we don't have murder 1, 2, and murder 3. We have murder, manslaughter, and involuntary manslaughter. So it's terminology, but it carries up to 30 years, and he got 20 years on that. And again, he was 18 at the time of the incident. He's 20 now. So that's a no parole type offense. Then we had another case that was ready for the trial roster, pled last Tuesday. Kenneth Willis, 43, of Conway. Now, at the age of 43, it's probably time to get out of the drug business, but Willis had a third offense of possession with intent to distribute, and first-degree domestic violence, or spousal battery, and then failure to stop for a blue light. When all of this, you make matters worse, you run from the police. And he also had a firearm by somebody that shouldn't have had it. All of that comes together, and he gets a total of 15 years that he will have to serve for drugs, violence, and a gun. 15 years, he's 43 years old, and those charges, of course, were 3 separate offenses. So just from the first charge to the third charge, he had picked those up in record time at 43. Probably, again, too old to be doing all of that. Charles Langley is also 37, too old to be in the drug game, but Charles Langley, 37, of Loris, this was a first offense for him, but trafficking and fentanyl. This was a negotiated plea deal, and he got 10 years, but his trial was to go forward last week, and he ended up pleading guilty and got 10 years for first offense trafficking and fentanyl. It was a county case. We had, I told you at the beginning of the week it was going to be a short week, with starting off with Memorial Day. So it was a lot of drug cases, and they said, there's no way I'm pleading, have one attorney on Friday. Nope, I wish, but he ain't going to plea. Come Monday, jury's sitting there wanting to plea. So that always happens on these cases, and they generally get a lot more time for pleading off of the trial roster. Nothing's for certain, but I'll be back next week. If you've got a particular topic you want to address, put it in the comments, and we'll cover it next Monday.